think he's going to get the lead. I know that the 8 has a little bit of speed. The 4 has a little bit of speed. I think drawn inside, I think they're just going to be aggressive. I think this horse gets to the front. I think he's going to take him gate to wire in this spot. I just feel like you look at the race 2 back. If we can get that trip, I think he's going to be really, really tough to beat. Last time out, he didn't make the lead at Santa Anita going a mile, and he still ran okay. Like, he kind of showed you there. It's like, well, he doesn't absolutely have to have the lead to be effective, but I think drawing the rail, get that inside spot, I think he can give him the slip. So I went number 1, El Patente on top.
Yeah, I thought this was the most difficult of the 3 races when picking a winner because I'm not taking Formidable Man. Again, I think this is another situation where you're seeing a horse that's just simply too short of a price considering the odds of the horse actually winning the race. And so that made it very difficult for me to go in that direction. I'm going to go with a horse that's beaten me before that won this race last year. I'm going to go with the number 3 here, King of Gosford. I think I'm going to get a little bit better of a price. Kimura jumps aboard for D'Amato, second time off the layoff here. Had a kind of weird trip last time in the American. You're going to get a very fast pace. That was a slower, more tepid pace for the mile distance at Santa Anita. I think you get a better trip with King of Gosford. We know we like the track here. 5 for 8 over Santa Anita's turf course. 3 for 7, specifically at this distance. And I just want to take some type of shot here because I understand why you like El Patente. I think that the Call Me Corey here, who is also in this race, is going to cause problems for El Patente up top. I think that kind of guarantees a fast pace as both of those horses go forward, and both of them really have just one way to win, and that is directly go to the lead. If that's the case and you got like this group of horses that are sitting behind, I think it's much more of a trip race and who gets through clean. And I could make a case for Mi Hermano Ramon. I could make a case for Seal Team. I could make a case for Almendares. Like, this is one of those wide open races. So I'm going to take what I think is probably going to be somewhere in the 5-1 range and go with the number 3 King of Gosford here.
You mentioned the horse number 5, Almendares. That's the other one. I almost put this horse on top because of what you said. What if it does get hot with the 1 and the 8? Because Call Me Corey, I think is got to go from the outside. So maybe it does get hot, and that does put the number 5 Almendares into this thing quite a bit. One kind of what I would consider to be the local prep race for this. Looked pretty good doing it. This is a horse that has been in these races what it feels like forever, right? It feels like every time you see a turf race here in Southern California, he's in it. And we know what he's going to do. A lot of times he's Keem in like the 3rd spot of your try, or even in the top 2 and 3rd or 2nd and 3rd spots for your tries. And because he's going to drop back, he's going to make one run, and he is going to pass a lot of horses. So if it does set up with the 1 and the 8 going, I think the 5 Almendares can pull, like you said, kind of a minor upset. You think the 3 is going to be 5-1? Almendares probably going to be 4 or 5-1, right around in there as well. I think Formidable Man's going to be like 8-5, and so I think that's going to make these other horses all pretty playable. I don't hate your 3 either, but the 5 was kind of the one I kept circling back to. Is like, I think that's going to be a nice mid price. Like I said, if I'm wrong and El Patente can't, get there because of the pace, maybe the 5's the one that can mow him down.
Yeah, I think the 5 is definitely a playable horse. Like, this is one of those races where I wouldn't talk you off anybody. If you like Almendares, if you like Mi Hermano Ramon, the 6 right to the outside, you're probably getting the price this time that you want to be able to bet Mi Hermano Ramon, who was one of the best turf horses in 2024 in Southern California. And then 2025, the Shoemaker Mile loses by a neck to King of Gosford, just not able to quite get there. And we have not seen this horse run that well since. Runs back at Churchill Downs, the Wise Dan ends up running 4th, comes back here, runs in the Kilroe Mile, grade 2. Final Boss wins that. El Patente runs 2nd. Last time out, 1 and 1/8, just kind of wasn't good. Now getting back to a mile, maybe it's the time for Mi Hermano Ramon, but you're going to get like 8, 9 to 10-1. Whereas before you were getting 3 or 4-1. So I think that makes it a little interesting. And then Seal Team, to me, a horse that I loved for a long time, specifically because of that win in the Twilight Derby at Santa Anita on Breeders' Cup Day, beat Silver Knot and Web Slinger, who are both very good horses. But that was 2023. A horse that we thought had a ton of upside hasn't won since and raced against a lot of these and has excuses, but tough to put a horse like that on top.
It's hard to believe, isn't it? Because I remember that race vividly. That was I think that was like the 3rd win in 4 starts or 5 starts for this horse. I was like, yeah, this one might be pretty good. And then Yeah, hasn't got the job done. Has been beaten over and over and over by the same horses that are in this race. And so I kept going back to Seal Team because I thought the race last time out, which was the race that Almendares won, I thought Seal Team was pretty good in it,
Hmm.
and really hadn't been good for a while. That race to me kind of felt like, maybe finally this horse is kind of back to that form that we remember. So I would probably tell you don't do it, to be quite honest with you. But if you want like a price to hit the board, like even if you get second and exact a third in the try, I think we're going to see the best effort from this horse. It's just, is it good enough? So I was with you on that one. I thought he was interesting. Kept going back to him. You mentioned Call Me Corey, and we kind of just passed him up as like, yeah, just a speed, kind of play the pace. Man, I thought the race last time out, I went back and watched it a couple times. If you want to take the other speed and take the number 8, Call Me Corey, at what I assume is going to be 6 or 8 to 1, I don't hate it. That allowance race going a mile and an eighth, and I know, look, we don't have a lot of races, and this is kind of a new shooter in a division where they kind of run against each other all the time. Call Me Corey's not not the worst looking like new shooter in this bunch right now.
If I was going to take a speed horse, it would be Call Me Corey,
Okay.
not El Potente. You mentioned that last race, like mile and an eighth, went
Good.
134 to the mile, went 146 to mile and an eighth, 12 seconds. Like that's not slowing down after going fast to a mile. Like I that horse held very, very comfortably in that spot, and you saw the second place horse come back and win as well. So I do think Call Me Corey, in my mind, it would be the speed I was going to play if one of the two.
Every 34 seconds, someone in America dies from heart disease. In that same time, you could be managing your heart health at home with Cardia Mobile, the #1 doctor-recommended personal EKG device that detects atrial fibrillation and other arrhythmias in just 30 seconds. Unlimited readings from anywhere at a surprisingly affordable price. Order now at Cardia, KARDIA.com or Amazon. Because when it comes to your heart, seconds count.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
This is Zachary Cohen from the Hardwood Handicappers podcast, where we bring you NBA insights from people closest to the game, like former Suns GM Ryan McDonough. Where do you think
Hey,
Giannis
Dad,
ends up?
your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, why don't you take a minute?
When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can, making sure they're safe and comfortable. But it's just as important that you take some time for yourself. At AARP, we can help with information and useful tips on how you can maintain a healthy life balance, care for your own physical and mental well-being, and manage the challenges of caring for a loved one. Because the better care you take of yourself, the better care you can provide for your loved one.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you.
You're there for them. We're here for you. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, class. Let's hear what everyone did this weekend. Jill?
Well, I raised my older sister to a big oak tree. It was at least 100 years old. My mom said I must have set a record or something. And then we went down by a stream and perched up on this huge rock and saw all of these little minnows swimming around way below us. And then I rescued my little brother from an evil slug king who was guarding him at the bush fortress. And my sister and I brought him back to our super twig fort for safety. And then we all laid out and told stories until it got dark. And the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow, awesome. Where were you, Jill?
Yeah. We went to the forest. It's not that far away. Anyone want to come this weekend?
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week and find the fun, adventurous you. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Village Tavern's been a beloved local landmark in Hubbard, Ohio for nearly a century, and now it's better than ever. Recently renovated and still serving up the same warm hospitality, the Village Tavern is your go-to spot for great food, cold drinks, and a laid-back atmosphere. Whether you're stopping in for dinner, catching up with friends, or just looking to relax, you'll enjoy a full menu of American favorites, rotating drink specials, and friendly service that makes every visit memorable. Be sure to visit the Village Tavern at 746 North Main Street in Hubbard, right next to Repair That Glass. To learn more, go to villagetavern3.com.
For PAFL football is the iMedia1 Network, Western Reserve Radio, Western Reserve Radio 2, and City View Sportscast, Youngstown, Ohio.
Nina's Pierogi House is your home for the area's best variety of pierogies. Daily specials include the Polish platter, the Hungarian platter, stuffed cabbage, and halushki. Having a last-minute get-together? Lena's has you covered with a wide variety of frozen take-home pierogies and dumplings. Go to Facebook at Lena's Pierogi House to see the weekly lineup of available flavors for dine-in or carry-out. Catch the best at Lena's Monday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Tuesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 20 North Main Street in Hubbard or call 234-254-8532.
Honorary Forest Ranger Betty White here, lending a hand to my dear friend Smokey Bear. Because for years, he's only said,
only you can prevent wildfires.
But there's a lot more to say. Like if you park your car on tall, dry grass, the hot exhaust pipe can start a wildfire. So keep the animals safe, especially the cute shirtless one. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Are you ready to join the legacy? This is your chance to become part of something special with the Youngstown Patricians. Honoring the proud football tradition of the Valley, we're on the lookout for talented post-high school athletes who want to make their mark on the field. Whether you're a seasoned high school athlete, college, or former professional player, develop your skills and become part of a team that values hard work, dedication, and community spirit. Don't wait. Begin your path to the gridiron by visiting youngstownpat.com or contacting us on Facebook at the Youngstown Patricians. Be bold, be legendary, join the Youngstown Patricians today.
If I could be you.
And you could be me? For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
to get inside
each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
It's time to kick back and listen to the Sports Page with your host, Pat Lucia, right here on Western Reserve Radio. You can call the show at 330-707-4202 and tell everyone what's on your mind in the wonderful world of sports. Now, here's your host, Pat Lucia.
Saturday morning Sports Page, Pat Lucia, Bob Gessler, filling in for Dave Clark. We got a lot to get to, Bob. Talk a lot of football. That's your expertise.
Okay.
We'll get to that. But we got to get the NBA.
Absolutely.
What happened last night and then with the Cavaliers. Obviously, rumor is that they're going to fire the coach if they don't get by the Knicks, which is, I think he's done a pretty good job. Atkinson, but get to that last night's game. Oklahoma, I don't know if did you watch any of it?
No, I did not.
Okay. Anyway, Oklahoma, OK City, the Thunder beat San Antonio 123-108. What does this mean after watching that game? Well, obviously, tomorrow night's game, like in all these 7-game series. OK City lost the first game. They've won the last 2. What we take away from that is basically his Oklahoma City they were off all that time, a lot of rust. It took San Antonio 2 overtimes to beat them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Oklahoma City won their game 2, what they had to win. Then last night's game, they beat San Antonio kind of easily. It was a close game beginning. San Antonio was up early in the game, but then Oklahoma City got back on track, was up at halftime, and then they cruised the second half. And ultimately, time to give you the raw numbers, San Antonio was up in the first quarter 31-26. Then Oklahoma City said, okay, we figured this out. They outscored San Antonio 32-20 in the second quarter. Again, I'm thinking, okay, now this may not be that close. I had a feeling that Oklahoma City was going to, put the foot to the pedal. Then you figure, okay, San Antonio will make a run at them in the third quarter. Didn't happen. And then basically from then on out, Oklahoma City cruised. What does this mean? I have a feeling that Oklahoma City is going to be pretty much, if they win the next game, obviously, Sunday night, go up 3-1, the series is over. San Antonio, that's the old fork in the road game. This is going to be a series or not? The Spurs, if they win Sunday night, tie it at 2-2, then we might have a 7-gamer here.
Yeah.
But if Oklahoma City does what they did last night and cruised, and now they've got San Antonio figured out in Wemby, the 7-5 win puppet. They've got him figured out. And I digress, but if they figured out San Antonio, this series is going to be over. What does it mean in the grand scheme of things? Is now tonight's game is the Knicks and Cleveland, and now that rumor is Cleveland going to fire their coach if they don't win the series and the Knicks, or if they go out in 4-0, which again, we'll get to that. They don't make any free throws against the Knicks. It's always the coach's fault.
I will never understand this. Always my fault. I get
it's always
it.
your
Coach,
fault.
always my fault.
You're the coach.
Yeah.
You're our coach. You're our Hall of Fame coach here at Western Reserve Radio. You're the man here. Right, but it's always
Yeah, but the problem is that I have is, okay, as a coach, you prepare these guys. These are professionals.
Right, these are professionals.
How is it that they are, before or after practice, not standing at that free throw line if they're getting a little rusty and shoot 100 of them in? This is what I just don't understand about that. But you're going to blame the coach for what?
Yep.
You can't force these guys. They have a contract. How do you force them to say, hey, you're missing free throws. We got to stay after practice. They're going to look at you and go, you know what, I got a drink and a dinner waiting for me. I don't know. That always has driven me crazy. Now, if it's bad play calling or bad time management, that's on the coach and the staff. But you can't, like I used to tell my players, I can prepare you. I can't snap the ball. I can't snap it to a punter. I can't do any of that stuff. And you see the guilt?
Yeah.
But I can't.
I
can only.
Craven here at the edge. He's going to fall over on the seat.
And because he snapped one over the head
Right.
of our punter and went into the end zone. And he kind of, instead of running right to the sidelines, he kind of diverted a little bit deep because he didn't want to
see you.
But my point is, we could only prepare them. They're the pros, and we're talking about pros. We're not talking about little kids or high school. They have to go out there and compete. They're the one with the talents. We're just trying to put them in the position, and that's all that is.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing on it is, I'll get the number up, but I believe the Cavaliers, game 2, I mean, they gave game 1 away to the Knicks. That was an all-time record. They were up 22 points with 7:22 left in the game and blew the game. It was the biggest comeback in NBA playoff history ever for the Knicks to do that. It was more the Cavaliers combination of both teams. But the bottom line is, people believe that they've basically don't know what they're, as far as with when you're getting with the Cavaliers here. They're in a situation where they gave that away. People don't believe they can recover from that. The only thing you have, though, and I've always warned, and I'm a Knick fan. However, they always say it isn't a series until the team loses a home game. The Cavaliers were down 0-2 to Detroit, came back and won that series in 7 games and beat Detroit at their home arena 5-7, game 5, game 7. So I caution all the Knick fans and the press, because everybody's jumping on the New York Knick wagon. This is 1973 team, the last team that ever won the title in NBA in Knick history. Brunson is now being compared to Patrick Ewing, Willis Reed, and Walt Frazier. And all the Knick fans are all on this big happy bandwagon. They've already got Cleveland dead and buried, and the dirt's on the grave. They're done. And I caution them, the Cavaliers were in this position before. They snapped back. They ended up winning the series against Detroit, who was the number 1 seed, by the way. So the bottom line here is, if you're a Knick fan, I'm a very cautious Knick fan. I'm like, well, wait a minute.
As you should be.
Let's pump. Oh, believe me, I've watched the Knicks. I'll tell you one thing. You being the coach, I'll tell you this right now. The New York Knicks have a big tendency, to play to the level of the mediocre opponent.
Yes.
Now, the Cavs aren't a mediocre opponent, so I don't rule out the Cavs. Now, tonight's game, obviously, is the game that's going to tell you Cleveland in or out. If Cleveland wins tonight and then can actually win on Monday night, bottom line is going to be, now you got a 2-2 series.
This could go 7.
It could go 7.
Oh,
It
yeah.
probably will go 7. And who the hell knows in a 7 game who can win?
Right.
So tonight's game with Cleveland and the Knicks is going to tell you to some extent where the series is going, as of San Antonio and OK City. Their game 4, will tell you where exactly that series is going. So that's kind of where the NBA picture lays out. But what gets what's so funny is everybody's not already. People have the New York Knicks winning. They already have it in the column. And really, if the Cavaliers would have made free throws game 2, I believe they missed 11. I can pull up the exact number. But the point is, I watched the game. They couldn't hit a free throw for their life. And I'm thinking, if these guys make the free throws, this could be really a tight game.
Oh, yeah.
And one reason why the Cavaliers lost the game was one of many, but that was probably a big reason. If you got to make your free throws, these are the NBA paid professionals.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I was getting dressed and get my stuff together for our football game later, so I was grabbing some of my books and everything. And I heard one of the Cavaliers talking. Of course, I don't know them and everything. And just watching him, he was pissed off. I mean, he was angry.
Right.
And we are not out of this.
No.
And he said, we were down 2 games. Well, we're going to come out. We're going to be ready to go. So I think somebody, not only that, and maybe he heard, or maybe the players here, which they did.
They do.
Well, we want to fire the coach. And these guys, I'm assuming they like him. He's done a great job. I don't understand that.
For him, and he's actually a good coach.
Well, he just fits into all the Cleveland sports that, we're just going to fire them all and just keep bringing people in.
What I like about him, this coach, and this makes the media upset with him, because he just comes out and he goes, well, they're still playing good. It's a good team.
Yeah.
Good. And he's not going to, they all want to say, well, Harden can't play defense, blah, 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 blah. But he won't say it. He won't say, well, James Harden's a good player. He makes good shots, blah, blah, blah. He gives you the standard, but he won't throw anybody under the bus. And that's a great coach in my eyes. And if anybody takes the hit, he does. Like he'll like Andy Reid always took the hit. And that's what, as a good coach anymore, you have to. You don't ever throw a player or blame the player, because it's like you might inside the locker room or inside that's different. But outside with the media, you're always going to give them the standard run of the mill. Hey.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I pick up the Vindicator, and all it says is Harden played well. Harden wins the game. Harden sunk this. Now they flambase them now. Make any sense. So now, he can score points if he's on defense. Well, you know what? The points that he scored won you that game. So I get a little confused.
Well, here's the whole problem is I hate to say this because I don't want to sound old, but it's kind of reflective of our kind of society. It's very blame, 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 move on. It's kind of a microwave society that we basically have here, and people just don't have absolutely any patience whatsoever.
Yeah, well, they all want to play armchair quarterbacks,
Right.
as we say, and it's just you'll never satisfy fans. Believe me, you could be the winningest coach, and something will happen in one game, and they're going to hang you. So I take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, the final on the Nick game, for the record, was 109 to 93. It was a 16-point difference. And let's see, what was look it up here. Yeah, the Cavaliers were 22, 30. They were 22 of 32. So they missed 10 free throws. They were 69% from the free throw line. And you got to figure, you got to do better than that. Now, the Knicks weren't anything great. They were 8 for 14 for free throws.
Right.
They missed 6. The Cavs missed 10. But if the Cavaliers have any kind of free throw, you could potentially make the argument that game could have been remotely a lot closer than it could be.
Well, they would have been right there. It would have been right there. So and who now they not and the other thing is now they're catching up. What happens with the momentum? Just like any sport. Oh, we could do this, and then somebody gets hot, and so you never know. I mean, I agree. Throw the sink the free throws. You're in that game all the way. That's crazy. Absolutely. It's you got to please people, and that's difficult.
Well, one other thing the Cavaliers have to deal with too, if you're thinking, okay, what's the future here for the
Yeah.
Okay, what's the future for our team? Donovan Mitchell, their star. Basically, bottom line is they are kind of getting. NBA is an interesting animal when it comes to salaries, because right now, the way that the Cavaliers have the highest payroll in the NBA. They are $217 million this year, $218 million next year. They are the highest payroll, followed by the New York Knicks, who are basically right behind them. The way the contract will lay out for Donovan Mitchell is he's coming up. What he's got is, I believe, next year is the final year of his contract. Then after that, he's got an opt-in or opt-out year. Historically, what these teams always do is they never let them get to the opt-out year. They extend them. Now, we'll get to LeBron James in a little bit because that's a real interesting, roll your eyes. A lot of people rolling their eyes.
Good Lord.
Believe me. But Donovan Mitchell will get paid. I like giving you these numbers because these make you really roll your eyes. Donovan Mitchell will get $50 million next year.
1 year.
Yes. 1 year. Then after that is his opt-in. He has an option of in 2027, 28 to opt in to $53 million.
Okay.
Now this is where the great part is usually what teams will do is they will extend Donovan Mitchell like next year, $50 million. That's where they'll give him the contract extension because they know he's going to opt out. But the money that you're looking at, it would be 5 years, $350 million for 5 years.
That's incredible.
It's totally incredible. So if you're a Cavalier fan, you've got to make a decision, or maybe not the fan, the owner has to make the decision. How good is Donovan Mitchell, and do we want to extend him and give him the 5-year, $350 million deal that would be on the table?
Right.
But the other dilemma you're always running into with somebody like a Donovan Mitchell is now you're getting into age. And this is where it can get real dicey. Because now I believe he is, let's see, Donovan Mitchell is 30 years old. He will be 30 years old in September. So now, start doing your math in your head. You would be really giving him at the age of 31 a 5-year extension. And you're thinking, well, wait a minute. 5 years at $350 million.
Wow.
And the guy would be 31 years old. $350 million. So that's $70 million a year. Then you're thinking, well, wait a minute. He will be, when he signs that contract, he will be 31 years old, which means, well, wait a minute. That means that contract's going to run from age 31 to age 36. How good is the guy really going to be at age 34, 35? And then you're thinking you're getting $70 million a year, and you're thinking, oh, my God, that's what we want to kind of, quote, put, tie our boat to, sort of to speak, and he's going to guide us through the NBA Finals and championship. He's going to be the guy. Is he really, quote, the guy, or do we look and say, okay, right after this season, he's got a year left on the contract. Do we look at trading him and then let some other team decide what they want to do as far as, do they want to give him the extension?
Do you think the league is doing this and looking at the older players because of LeBron, because of his longevity? Or do you just, because they're all wishing and hoping they stay alive and do what they got to look what I don't mean to change the subject. We'll look at Aaron Rodgers. He's going back to the Steelers.
Right. And good point.
We'll get to that.
No, we got that, and then we also have, that's an excellent point, because Rodgers is staying with the Steelers, and Stafford just signed a new deal, an extension with the Rams. I believe it was 2 years, $110 million. It's like $55 million a year.
Right.
So he's looking to come back. But at least the only thing with those players is it's only like 1 or 2 years.
Correct.
So, and Rodgers has already come out and told us that, okay, this is my last year, my final year. He's getting $25 million a year or whatever, 25 million, and that's it.
Well, he's hoping the McCarthy thing and him will click. But here's the problem I have with that. Again, any basketball, whatever, you're old. You're not going to compete with the speed in that. When I heard that, I jumped for joy and said, that's just beautiful. Thank you, Pittsburgh. Because, he's going to win games, but he can't move. He's not as quick. And not only that, I don't like his attitude, the way he talks to players. I would just, as a lineman, I'd have something to say.
Yeah, he's very...
Yeah.
Yeah, he's technically, to your point, we're 42 years old.
Right.
He will be 43 in December. So he will be at the last year of his contract. He's 42. The question is, though, you're obviously getting the older Aaron Rodgers. Now, he actually plays pretty good for his age. But the only question with Pittsburgh's going to be is, realistically, what do you see with this team? Like, you don't see this team as a Super Bowl contender.
You can't.
No. I mean, at best, they'll get the playoffs.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe they get in the playoffs. And that division, the division is really going to be interesting. It's wide open because you've got, the Bengals. You've got, obviously, the Browns with the new coach.
And beefed everything up.
He's right. And he's looking at the offense at a whole different, from a whole different set of eyes than the prior. And he looks at the quarterback, Watson, who never fit into Stefanski's system. And that was always a mismatch from the day they signed Watson.
Right.
Some people believe he was almost set up to fail there because Stefanski wasn't going to change his system to fit Watson.
Right.
So Watson was always struggling with that. And now you bring in, and that's what this coach did not say, the new guy. But
so get back to the basketball. That's a great point because that all goes back to that.
Right.
So you don't have 53, 54 players. So you're relying on one man. Do you just say, maybe I can get, he's going to be old by the time the contract's up. We can't offer him 5 years. Do we now trade him and say, hey, we could get maybe 2 players that are 26 and I could get more out of them then? And what you're paying for him.
Or a draft choice.
Or drafts. Exactly. So you bite the bullet and just say, or are you just going to say, we're going to rely the whole team on him, and then what happens? Something happens to him, or he's going to be old. I know it sounds crazy for me, I'm twice as old as him, but I'm not running around a basketball court getting beat up and trying to compete with kids that are coming out of college that are 22, 23 years old too.
Well, and then if you look at the Cavaliers roster and their pay and the salaries, they've got Evan Mobley is signed up through 28, 29, and so is Jared Allen. The two big men are basically there for 3 more years. Mitchell, again, as we said, he's there next year. It's the following year he can opt out. Then they have, again, but they usually make the decision of extending this upcoming year. For all the sake and purposes, he's in the final year of his contract at $50 million. Now you get to James Harden and everybody being down on James Harden. Harden's contract, he's got an opt-in for next year. He could stay at the Cavaliers for $42 million. He can opt in for $42 million and say, hey, Cleveland, I like it here. I'll give it another roll. I'm going to opt in for the $42 million.
How old is Harden?
Harden, I believe, is 36.
Wow. He seems so much older than that to me.
Well, the word on Harden is, and if you watch him, in the playoffs, he has a tendency to slow down because it catches up with him.
Oh, yeah.
The age.
Sure.
People question his conditioning, and they look at him and say, but he does that. If you look at his history, he has done that during when he was with Houston. He just has these games where he just can't play defense. He can't move. Right. So he becomes a real defensive liability. He plays a good first half, but the legs wear out. And by the second half, all the shots are short. He's
tired.
He's tired. And I believe, like I said, the age is, I believe it is 36.
Wow. And it's not like he's playing 13 games.
Yeah, he's 36.
That's the other thing. What we're up, what are we up to now? 18 in the NFL?
We are
season.
Getting there.
Yeah,
we're going to get to
there.
18. We're waiting. It's like, if we ever love to talk about this too, we could get to that too.
Right.
When you look at all of the, quote, sports out there, one common denominator is, guess what? They're expanding.
Yeah.
NCAA basketball is expanding, going to 76 teams from 68 teams. They're just going to add more play-in teams. Why are they doing that?
It's all about the money.
All money.
We know that.
And people won't, let's face it, if it's on TV,
people go, yeah.
They're going to watch it.
They're going to watch it, especially during basketball. What's going on during the winter?
Nothing.
Nothing.
You're going to put
right. Nothing.
At college basketball, March, everybody loves it, but people really start watching it about February.
Oh,
March.
I do. I don't watch it at all throughout the season. I wait till March Madness, and then because it's weird because it's like they flip a switch with these guys, and man, they want to play because it's all about the tournament and stuff.
It is.
It just amazes me that they have to add these games, but it's all about the money, and that goes back to you're paying players now. What's the best way to try to counteract that? We got to charge more. Right. And that's exactly what these colleges, because you remember, okay, they're forced to play more games, whether it's basketball or football, because watch what happens there, too.
Well, football's got to expand the tournament.
Exactly. So what is it?
Go.
It's more money, more more people are going to watch.
They're talking college football. There's already talk that they're going to expand it from 12, not to 16. Rumor is go to 24. They're going to go. They're talking about going, I believe, there was on the table, what do we want to go to? Yeah. And what they want, though, people watch bowl games. Bowl games don't mean anything.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
I know where you're going.
Now,
Go ahead.
Now, if they said, hey, wait a minute, why don't we expand the college football playoff?
Yep.
And how about if we, instead of going to 16, let's not go to 16. Let's go to 24. And they may jump it from 12, double it, because you make a funny face.
Wow.
Like, that's probably not a great idea because some of those games may not be so good. But at the end of the day, they don't care because they know we're going to watch it. Like, if they have the games on, everybody, like, I'll be the first one to say, I don't know if this is a great idea either, but I'll watch those games because maybe there'll be an upset, and it's now a game means something.
And it's always around a holiday too. So what do you do at a holiday? You're having with your family or friends over, and that's just how that is.
Well, we still got to the NFL schedule because Christmas Eve, they've got a game on Christmas Eve. So I'm sure you're going to be watching ChristmasEve. Now maybe Carol's not very happy, or she may be.
Oh
watching
no,
it too.
she's a big football fan.
She loves it.
Oh
See?
yeah,
there you go.
There it is.
You see that? Saturday morning sports page. Back after this.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
The year was 1907. The Cubs won the World Series and the Ford Model R hit the assembly line. While here in Ohio, school administrators came together to form the Ohio High School Athletic Association. One thing that hasn't changed since 1907 is the dedication of the OHSAA to education-based athletics in Ohio. School sports teach responsibility, sportsmanship, and life lessons that stay with students long after their playing days are over. The OHSAA seeks to prepare students not for the next level of sport, but for the next level of life.
Saturday morning sports page. Pat Lucia. Bob Gessler doing a great job for Dave Clark filling in.
I could never be Dave.
No.
I couldn't even do his voice.
No, Dave's. No.
Lou Rawls.
Dave is, he's the best.
He's up there.
Believe me.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, Gessler's got to step away for a couple seconds. That's okay. This is how we do this show. We're always on the run. We got to get that song, REO, Take It on the Run. Saturday, as we said, we were talking a lot about college football expansion, NBA playoffs. We are kind of all over the board. It's just kind of one of those times of year where you got the basketball, really, NBA is great, but college football looks really good. They are talking about going to a 24 24-team college football playoff. There's a push now with college football postseason to expand to 24 teams. So they're going to go from 12 to 24. And this is as of 2027. So that would be next year. We would have this year's games, and then next year it would be 2027. They would be looking at a 24-team proposal to basically go to the playoffs. So what basically does it mean? It means obviously more money. Rumor is they need to do this because of the NIL. They have to pay the players. They need to generate more money in order to pay these players. So bottom line is, and I understand this, is it makes a lot more sense for college football to try to expand that playoff to 24 teams, because that way you're going to generate a lot more money, and they will need the money to pay the players. The other sad part is because of the way the cost of NIL, you're having your other non-revenue sports in college athletics going away. The colleges cannot afford no longer to support the non-revenue sports, and therefore they'll become maybe club sports, but there will be less scholarships because colleges will no longer even have those sports. Or if the sports are being played in college, it's the club sport level. So really colleges will not be involved in that. So bottom line is college football, which always makes me laugh, because if you take the history of college football, for years, they always had the college football national championship was literally voted on by UPI, United Press, and then AP, Associated Press. They would vote who was the best team in college football. They didn't even play it on the field. I know that I could go back in history, but there was years ago when Penn State had Kajana Carter and did by far have the best team in college football. And I believe that was 1994, that Kajana Carter and Penn State were just unbelievable. I mean, they were definitely, I thought, was the best team in college football. They ended up second because Nebraska got voted in over Penn State. They didn't play one another at the end of the year because Penn State was tied into the Rose Bowl, Big Ten, and they couldn't play Nebraska. And then Nebraska ended up being voted in. And to this day, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of Penn State fans out there that felt they were the best team. I thought they were the best team. Definitely would have loved to see Nebraska play Penn State in 1994. And it never happened, sadly. And to this day, it's just like, now I laugh, sadly, because I look, you got to be kidding me. I know that was 32 years ago, but back then, you just did not have a college. You didn't even have two teams, two best teams playing one another. I believe it was right after that, a couple years after that, they actually started to try to get the two best teams to play. Now, come back, fast forward 30 years later, bottom line is not only are we have 12 teams, which people were taking back because college football went from 4 to 12, they want to actually double this, and they want to get to 24. So they want to go from 12 to 24 in a year because, again, there's money. It's always about money. Follow the green, follow the money. But college football for years, you couldn't get the two best teams to play one another. Now you basically have it where not only do we have 12 teams, we're going to get 24 teams in the mix. So it's gone from 12 to 24 in a year. And again, it's all about the money. They also know TV, everybody will watch. Nobody is going to complain, oh, yeah, there's too much college football on. Yeah, I'm going to have to watch the 24th team play, however they break it out, play like the fifth seed or the sixth seed, however they break this out. But at the end of the day, nobody will complain, and everybody's going to say, I would rather watch this than watch bowl games that really don't matter, because that's basically what college football is based on, are bowl games. Now, granted, the bowl games are all good, but again, the players opt out now. NIL's involved. They don't want to play in a bowl game because they're worried about being injured, potentially hurting a pro career. Well, now, going to 24 teams in college football, that not only does that make the games mean something, but that also means the players won't opt out. They will play these games because, after all, could be potentially playing for a national title down the road. So you'll have less players opting out, and they will play in these games if they expand the playoff to 24 teams. And I believe that's the other motivating factor why college football looks at it this way, is they're looking at it as, hey, we can expand our playoff to 24. Therefore, the games will mean something. The players won't opt out. Everybody wins at the end. And you're going to get great TV ratings because people are going to watch. Nobody's, again, going to turn away and say, okay, we're not going to watch because there's too much college football on TV. Games mean something. The only problem college football will ultimately have is they're going to have to compete some of the days against the NFL, because Roger Goodell is going to basically schedule all the games that they want to schedule when he wants to schedule them. And he knows that at the end of the day, the NFL is the top dog on the block, and they drive the boat. They tell networks, Netflix, Prime, this is when you're going to put our games on. And the networks say, fine. They'll follow whatever Roger Goodell and the NFL tell them. They put the games on. Now, sadly, because there's a lot of NBA fans upset because a lot of the games, a lot of the playoff games were on Prime. And some people don't have it, or they don't like to have to toggle over and look at the game on Prime if there's another game up against it, say on ESPN. But bottom line is, Prime and Netflix and all these other pay services, they will dictate to college basketball and NBA and all of them when their games will be on. However, the NFL doesn't have that power. The NFL has the power to tell the networks when the games are going to be on. That's just the way it is. The NFL is still the top dog. College football is second. And then you can get into the discussion, which is bigger, NBA or baseball, and leave it at that. It's always a close third, I guess, if you want to say it, NBA or college, or NBA and in baseball as being the number third sport of popularity. You want to put pro football definitely one, college football two, and the other ones then fall into place. But that's the bottom line. College football going to go ahead and increase their playoff system. Looks like from 12 to 24, they're going to double it in 1 year. And I know there's some people that are a little upset that's going to happen. I love it because I think back, it's so funny. Years ago, they didn't even play one another. They finally were able to get two teams to play one another in college football. One played two. Then they expanded it to four, and they had that for about 10 years. And that had everybody complaining because everybody thought the fifth team should have gotten in. I guess technically what this always does with expansion is now you'll go to 24 teams, and I'm sure the team that gets left out of 25 in college football will be upset because they didn't get in, and you'll be arguing 24, 25. But I guess at the end of the day, I remember when they were basically arguing 2 and 3 and who was number one, who was number two. And then sometimes people thought the third team should have been number 2. And there was always outrage in college football. Well, now they want to try to maybe limit the outrage among their fan base, and they want to get it to where it's basically 24 versus 25. You really won't have anybody complain. In fact, if anything, I think everybody, as much as some people will be upset that they're going to 24 teams in college football, I think at the end of the day, they're all going to be happy. College basketball, already, we talked about it last week, they were at 68. Now they're going to 76 teams. They're adding 8 more teams to the play-in tournament. And again, that's going to create, some people are upset because they think it's too much. It's really not. I mean, all they're doing is they're adding in 8 more play-in teams, and Dayton will stay there as a play-in site, and they're going to add, allegedly, they're going to make another play-in site out west for geographic reasons. So at the end of the day, it's all going to be back on TV. It'll probably be on a streaming service, either Prime or Netflix, or somebody will pick it up, and college will work out a deal. That's what the NBA did. They went to streaming. They're getting paid billions of dollars by going this direction. And when you start looking at the contracts and what the players are making, you can kind of see where, if Donovan Mitchell is basically going to go ahead and sign a 5-year extension worth basically somewhere in the neighborhood of $300 million. Bottom line is you're going to have to figure out a revenue stream, and going to the Prime and Netflix, they're paying you the most money. And that's, again, why NBA went to Prime. People are upset, but they're paying the NBA a lot of money, and the NBA says, hey, they're going to go to who's paying them the most money. They've got a revenue stream. They need to generate revenue because, again, you have to pay the players. Granted, they get a lot of people, the games, the concessions, the parking, blah, blah, blah. They get all that, and they're never going to cut back on the 82-game season. No. That's always there.
Right.
Mr. Gessler, they're always staying at 82 games. Baseball's always staying at 162. I know there are sports talk people that love to talk about what the NBA needs to do. You need to cut it back from 82 games to maybe 70 games to 68 games. And I guess it's all great for people like us on a Saturday morning sports talk show to be talking about that. Right. But in reality terms, it ain't happening. In football, we even got to that yet. I was talking about college football going to 24 teams. The NFL is going to get to 18 games sooner than later. It's already in the works. It won't be this year, but if I was a, quote, betting man, I would be putting on a couple dollars that it's going to happen next year. Right. And in 28, it will be, they'll have an 18-game schedule. Probably for 2020, for 2027, they might have 18 games.
It's just not, and I understand it's about the money and stuff, but what's going to happen is these players, and we saw it this year, and last year, look at the injuries. Look at the injuries we had with quarterbacks, with running backs. Are they then going to say, like a Myles Garrett, I'll just use him as an example. He's your guy. Is he going to say, I need a rest? By the time we get to the playoffs, I'm going to be beat up and tired. It's a physical game. So is he going to say, hey, I need this weekend off and next weekend off? Are they going to sit more players doing that to teams that are maybe either ahead or just not winning much games? How does that work? Because you can't that's a violent game, and these guys are big. And whether you're playing basketball, because I'll tell you what, anymore, I mean, there's no defense, but they're still out there running around. They're banging around. Okay. Right. Baseball, it takes that takes a toll because there's just a lot of games. That's just how it goes. But football is so contact, and we saw so many injuries in the last couple of years. How are you going to go to that many games and expect these players to keep going and going and going?
What they will do is, there's already talk, they have to get with the union to get it agreed, the players' union. So they're going to throw the players' union needs to use this as a bargaining chip. But they will probably go to 2 bye weeks instead of 1. 2 bye weeks.
Okay.
And they will have to expand roster size. So you're going to have more players on the roster to accommodate the 18-game schedule. You get to 2 bye weeks. You get to a bigger roster. And then, again, but the only thing is, all the talk about the guys now play overseas. They have all these international games.
Yep.
This upcoming year, players have to travel. They're going to have to work bye weeks out. A lot of the players aren't happy. I don't think some of the fans are not very happy, but it doesn't really impact the fan because at the end of the day, that just means you're going to have to get up at 9:30 and watch the game, or you don't watch the game. But you could watch football on a Sunday from 9:30 to 12 o'clock at midnight, because then you could watch basically the 9:30 game. You have the 1 o'clock, the 4 o'clock, and then the 8 o'clock. So you could watch literally NFL will be like college football, because college football has that right now.
In the afternoon.
In the afternoon. It starts at noon. And it basically runs till 1 in the morning or 2 in the morning.
But I'd rather do that than do the NFL in the morning. I mean, and the point to going over there. What is your average football stadium in the United States where they play hold? Say 80,000.
Yeah, probably 75 to 80.
What's the average stadium hold that they're playing in these soccer? 130.
Yeah. I mean, some of those...
It's all revenue.
Right.
How do we know how much they're paying to get into that? Have they ever said? I don't know.
No. It's a lot of money.
It's got to be a lot of money.
Goodell spins it as we're growing the game. Yeah, okay. We understand that. You're growing the game. He wants to grow it internationally. Yeah. And then, like you said, and they went to the streaming service because it's the way of the future. No, you're doing the streaming service because they're paying you a boatload of money to put the games on Christmas and Christmas Eve now. And then Thanksgiving has got a game. Thanksgiving Eve, Wednesday before Thanksgiving, when cookies are being made and you know that because you're your wife. I know that firsthand. Now, I don't know if Carol's doing any of that stuff.
I mean, she bakes. Yeah,
she bakes. Okay, everybody knows that. Everybody's in the boat where everybody bakes something. You know that you're in a household is Wednesday before Thanksgiving. People are usually in a household if they're not out when they're younger day. We all went to the bars, but we're old. We don't do that. But now we're all sitting at home. Eating cookies, and then the game's on. Okay. Now we're going to get to watch.
Well, the husbands are watching the game, and then the wives will say, hey, could you mix this up, or could you help me swap the cookies on the rack while I get the next ones? They're not stupid. Because what do you do the day before Thanksgiving? You're home anyway. You can't wait to get home from work, and you know you don't have to get up early the next day, so let's watch
and
the game.
Then when you get up early, you have a little something to eat.
You're watching the game.
You watch football at 12:30, so you got that to watch. And then that goes basically, 12, 4, and then the 8 o'clock game.
They snuck another game in there.
And then if you're bored, now they have a game on Friday.
Yeah.
3 o'clock. They got the Black Friday game at 3 o'clock.
Yep.
So you've got, again, it's going to, and they just take over. And the same thing Christmas Eve. He's got a game on Christmas Eve. And then they've got 3 games on Christmas Day.
Right.
That used to be the NBA's game.
Yes.
That was the NBA day, was Christmas Day.
Yeah.
NBA was put all the games on Christmas Day. That was their day. Well, Goodell decided, we want that day. And so they put all the football games on. And guess what? They dominate the day because everybody's watching football over basketball.
So is that going to stretch it out? How far? Because now you got buys. So where's it going to end up at the end of the year? When you're going to play the Super Bowl?
Right now.
February? March?
Yeah, it'll be February. And the only thing they were saying is their goal for the 18-game season, they want to play the Super Bowl the President's Day weekend.
Oh, that's right. That's right. We discussed that.
Everybody can watch the Super Bowl. And they don't have to work the next day because that's a federal holiday. So everybody has that day off. So then people could do all they want, and they don't have to call in sick to work like they do now. They basically will
go to bed at halftime, and then they, because they got to get up the next day.
Right. Well, now they don't have to do that.
No, they have to do that. Watch the whole game.
They can watch the whole game, stay out with their friends, drink. Have a good time.
Have parties.
Right. And they don't have to call in with the brown bottle flu on Monday. I can't come in. I got a bad case of the brown bottle flu is what we would call it in the day.
Oh,
but
Lord.
The point is right. Now the NFL is going to construct this schedule, 18 weeks, 18 games, 2 bye weeks. They're going to get it all figured out, and they'll have Super Bowl the Sunday before President's Day. And there you go. Then that'll be the federal holiday. and everybody could sit there and go to all the Super Bowl parties you want, stay out, have a good time, and you could get up. You don't have to get up and work the next day. You could sleep in and then get ready.
It's amazing. All about money. It's all
Always
about the
is.
money. But you have to, because they have to do something, because now that they're paying these players such big, they have to expand. They have to get more revenue. You know, Goodell he ain't dumb. Drives me crazy, because you have Disney or whatever other wacko channels that we have to try to get in to watch a game. And then, of course, in our area, you have we're going to put Pittsburgh in instead of Cleveland. Wait a minute. Yeah, that's baloney.
Well,
too.
if you go to YouTube, if you buy the
YouTube, but you got to buy
the
it.
NFL package. You don't have to worry about
it. Well, again, here we go. You got to buy it. Where's the money go?
It's usually about $300 to pay the channel.
There you go. I tell them I'm already paying for it. Something that I had an antenna and 4 channels back in the day.
Well, we remember that well.
Yeah,
I remember that well. PBS was one of the 4.
Yep.
Right. If you're right.
If you were lucky, you can get the Channel 8 out of Cleveland too.
Yeah.
If you were lucky, if you had the antenna.
Right. I was down in Columbus, and we had 4 channels. Channel 34 was the PBS. You watched the Ohio State tape delay the following day, or at night you could watch it. Then they played it again on Channel 34, so you could watch Ohio State tape delay at night and then watch it again on Sunday morning. 34.
We did before Mass. Notre Dame highlights with Lindsey Nelson, and we would all get the Notre Dame highlights.
We did. Yep.
We grew up with that. My father was a Notre Dame fan. He was an Urson player.
They played when I grew up in New York. That's what they did Sunday morning in New York was the Notre Dame game. You could watch the Notre Dame replay of the Notre Dame game from the day before, and everybody did.
Right.
So Notre Dame, they had the Subway alumni in New York. That's what it's known for. But everybody watched Notre Dame Sunday mornings if it wasn't on. See, people don't remember a few things. Back in that day, like they had that rule, like Ohio State could only have 2 games on.
Yeah.
They were limited to how many games. Then in 1984, they got the Supreme Court to rule against that and threw that out, said you can't limit that. You can't. That was restraint of trade, I believe. Don't hold me to it. But then in 84 they opened it up
and exploded.
And it exploded. And then those games were everywhere on TV. USA had a game.
Oh yeah.
They were all over. I remember that quite vividly because I remember I had cable. I finally got cable in my apartment in 84. That's how backward it was down in Columbus. But my point is, then in 84, they ruled that college football could no longer restrict how many times a team could be on
TV.
And then all of a sudden everything blew up and all these games were all over the place.
Yeah, look on a Saturday right now. You could watch 5 or 6 games from the different channels that we'll start this one at 10 and 11 and 12. And then I'm constantly going, I want to see these guys play. But
well, if you get YouTube TV, you got multi-view.
Yeah, well, you can have the games.
And you got one
TV
screen.
But,
you got one screen with 4 games going on.
Could you imagine this brain doing that? I would probably short circuit.
Well.
I couldn't do that.
I don't think you would do well with that.
No. I can't do that.
I don't think
because I'd be yelling at this game and going, "Why is he doing this?"
You would be going nuts.
She'd kill me
because you got that coach.
You're
always yelling and screaming about, how they're lining up, what they're doing. We're formation.
They're offsides. Look, I was the official missing this.
Right. You would be out of your mind.
I would. Yeah. I couldn't do it. Yeah. So one at a time. Right. I'm good with that.
You'd be Carol having a straitjacket.
with gorilla tape over my mouth.
She'd have, right. That's right. She'd have gorilla tape. She'd have the gorilla tape over your mouth. Yeah, right.
Lord.
I would see her at Giant Eagle buying gorilla tape. Now I know. Right. Now I know what she's doing. What are you buying that gorilla tape for? Oh, I know. Okay.
I got you.
You don't have to tell me anymore. I know why you're buying that stuff. Yeah.
And she'll tell me during a Browns game or a Notre Dame game or a Ohio State game. Good Lord, the neighbors on the other block are hearing you. I don't care. What are you yelling? They can't hear you. I gotta yell.
Yeah,
somebody's gonna hear me somewhere.
Well, now you're going to have a lot of yelling to do because when college football goes from 12 to 24, you're going to be losing your mind. And then you're going to have the NFL interjecting in there because they want Saturdays.
Yeah.
So they will have some games competing against NFL.
And I don't know why.
Which I don't know why they do that. Because why can't the NFL say, okay, Saturday, let college have Saturday. We'll schedule around it. You guys have Saturday. We'll
just like the NBA on was it Christmas? Is it Christmas?
Yeah.
Where they run all day.
Right.
Well, no, we're going to take that now.
No, Goodell,
that's ours.
They're taking that over.
Someone's going to take a pot shot at him one day. Our fans going to be mad.
It doesn't matter.
It's crazy.
He knows at the end of the day, Goodell knows. And you got to remember, he's a mouthpiece for the owners. That's all.
That's all he is.
He does. He gets paid I think he's getting $42 million a year, something insane. But the point is, he does a great job. I got to give Roger Goodell all the credit in the world because he knows where to get the money, the revenue stream, and that's what all this is.
Yeah, he's a money maker.
Right. Roger Goodell, and he can spin it how he wants to spin it, even though we know what it is about. But Roger Goodell is a genius. He knows where he's getting the money. They've got PSLs for the new stadium in Cleveland when it gets opened up there in Brook Park.
Mm-hmm.
The PSLs will probably be somewhere. I could look it up through the roof. People will buy the PSLs. They want to go to the new stadium, the new dome. That place will be, I think it's supposed to, I think the capacity is going to be 65,000. Bottom line is they're going to sell all the PSLs.
They'll fill it.
And now people will go December. They can go there and not freeze.
Yep. Amongst other things that he's going to put in there.
Yep.
More things.
Yeah. Concerts.
Tractor pulls.
Got it. Saturday morning sports page. Halftime in the books. Back after this.
Youngstown, Warren, and Salem's local and national sports talk can be found on TuneIn and the Live 365 app at Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Located in Applewood Estates in Boardman Township, the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club offers a pleasant family environment. Choose a membership that meets your needs and enjoy a relaxing venue that includes not only swimming for the family, but also youth activities such as competitive swimming, tennis, and more. Enjoy the friendly atmosphere all summer long with the staff and members of the Applewood Swim and Tennis Club. For more information, go to applewoodswimandtennis.com or call 330-953-2833.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Are you tired of switching apps just to catch your favorite shows and live events? Say hello to the iMedia1 Network app, your one-stop destination for streaming and everything that matters. From national sports to exclusive local content, Western Reserve Radio, Western Reserve Radio 2, and City View Sportscast are now all in one place, anytime, anywhere. Download the free iMedia1 Network app on iOS and Android and unlock the future of sports audio in the palm of your hand. The iMedia1 Network, your sports app in the Valley.
Saturday morning sports page. Pat Lucia. Bob Gessler filling in for Dave Clark. 330-707-4202. We go to 11 o'clock today. Yeah. Yeah, we just had a little glitch there. We're looking at, if you're interested, trying to figure out if you're going to go to the Cleveland Browns Stadium. I'm trying to figure out what the PSLs are going to be. But right now, Bob, it's 67,000 people. It'll be a 67,500 500 seats plus 2,500 for additional standing room tickets. So 70,000. You'll get 70,000 people there because you'll have your it also says for basketball tournaments and major soccer matches, which is now where he's thinking. He's another businessman. He's doing the right thing now. I can believe it can hold up to 75,000.
The other thing, what happened last year? They put Michigan played Ohio State in a hockey arena that they put outside.
Right.
They could do that inside very easily.
They could do that inside. They do it all the time.
Truck pulls, motorcycle crosses. There's so many things it could do that will bring you revenue all year round. That thing sits. Other than that one hockey game, you can't do anything.
No, it's dead.
It is.
It's literally dead in the water. I mean, the problem is there's nobody there. It sits there empty. If you're any kind of a businessman, and Haslam's thinking far ahead, which I don't blame him. I give him a lot of credit too, in that he's thinking, wait a minute, if I'm going to go ahead and build a stadium and get, and put a dome in, I basically, and he wants to build it by the airport, which is
smart.
Smart dome. It's wide open. It's a lot of land out there for parking, etc. By the airport, people could fly in. You have a concert there. Bands can fly in, do their concert, stay at the hotel, and leave right away.
Yep.
Makes it real conducive. It's all indoors. The tractor pulls is a big thing. Have that there. Have a soccer match there. Basketball tournaments, NCAA tournaments now.
Syracuse, they play theirs in the Carrier Dome.
Carrier Dome. He can have an NCAA tournament games there. He can open that up and start having that. Now let's go ahead. We have a caller. Saturday Morning Sports Page, what's up?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you guys doing today?
Hey, Irish Mike, what's happening?
How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Hey, Pat, I know you're a big New York Knicks fan. I mean, as a Cavs fan, I think right now one of the primary reasons why the Cavs are down 0-2 to the Knicks is the fact that they took the Toronto Raptors, a very average basketball team. Toronto took them the Cavs to 7 games.
Right.
And then obviously in the second round of the playoffs, they played Detroit, who I know was the number 1 seed, but I don't think anyone took Detroit seriously as a title contender.
You're correct.
The playoff basketball team, and you had Game 6 at home in Cleveland, and you can put them away, and you end up losing by 20 points, which forces you to go to Detroit and play Game 7 on Sunday night, and then a quick turnaround to go to New York. Now, obviously, the Cavs played great for 3 quarters and blew a remarkable lead that we've never seen in NBA history, but these playing every other day has cost this team as far as they are tired right now. That's just a reality.
Yeah.
It's
They
not
say
an
they're
excuse.
not.
Remember, the Knicks had 9 days off because after they swept the Philadelphia 76ers on that Sunday, they didn't play again until the following Tuesday. So they had plenty of time to rest their bumps and bruises.
And they came out a little.
It's more what the Cavaliers did not execute more than it's a knock at the Knicks.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think, though, the Cavaliers, they blew the game, the first game, and I thought it was over. I didn't think the Knicks were going to win. I figured that the way they were playing, the Knicks, I figured rusty, Cavs look good. And then, again, Atkinson, if he survives, there's people saying he should fire him. He didn't call the timeouts. He let the Knicks get back into that game. And, there's so many people just criticizing why was Harden trying to guard Brunson, switch off, bring someone else in, do something else, just don't sit there. And then that New York crowd got so wound up. And then you had a bad feeling when they got overtime. You knew the Knicks were going to win that in overtime. The Cavaliers had no shot in OT. And
they were tired.
And they were tired on top of it, and that was maybe the reason why. But then again, you gave the Knicks life, and then the other night, Cavaliers can't make free throws. All of a sudden, they missed 10 free throws. It just seems, but in fairness, and Donovan Mitchell said it. We were down 0-2 to Detroit, and everybody had us dead in the water. We came back and won the series. I mean, I'm a Knicks fan. I'm thinking that. I'm like, hey, guys, don't get too worried. Knicks, no, everybody got the Knicks already
winning.
They already got the Knicks looking at who's OK City.
The only thing I will say, Pat, to that comment on Mitchell, if you remember Game 3 of Detroit and Cleveland, they were playing Cleveland. I think the Cavs had like a 9 or 10 point lead at halftime.
Yeah.
And then with like a minute left to go in the game, Detroit had a big turnover. Max Strus went down, got a 3-point play.
Yes.
Like with 50 seconds left. That game was tied, and Detroit had the ball in Cleveland.
Yeah.
So, like, people forget those things and say, dude, had Detroit won Game 3, they probably would have swept you. So, you won in 7 games. The frustrating thing for me is, the reality is after they beat Detroit in Game 7 handily up there by 25 points or more, just blew them out of the water from start to finish, I think people started to buy into the Cavs again because, for 3 years they had great regular seasons and they would, go out of the – and there was a lot of knock on Donovan Mitchell. This is his 9th year in the NBA, and 5 in Utah, and now 4 in Cleveland, and he's done very, very little in the playoffs to take his team and rise to the next level. And now you beat Detroit, and you say, wow, well, maybe this team can finally do it. They got over this hump, this playoff stigma of the last 3 years where they were great regular season, but they stunk in the playoffs. And then you go out and blow a remarkable, I think, with 7 minutes left to go in the game, the Cavaliers' win percentage was 99.99996%, and you lose in overtime. So now, all of a sudden, all that goodwill you built up, guys, by winning that Detroit series in 7 games and finally getting each conference finals without LeBron James, kind of went out the window after Tuesday night. And everyone expected them to lose Thursday, and they did.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing is
it's terrible how momentum for fans could just change in a dime, Pat.
Well, here's the shakeout. This game tonight could be the series. It's going to tell you if the Cavs win tonight. Now, the only problem they have to do is they really have to win the next 2 games. Because
absolutely, these next 2, and we said the same thing in Detroit. It's not only Game 3, but it's Game 4. The next 2 games are must-wins.
They need to win now because the problem is they can win tonight, but if they lose Game 4, then it's back to New York Game 5, and they refer to that as the gentleman's sweep in sports. Knicks win in 5, and that's what a lot of people think will ultimately happen. Or some people think the Knicks will win this 4 straight. I'm not a big believer in any of it. I think that the Cavaliers have been down this road before and have pulled it out. Now, granted, it's the Knicks, and the Knicks have what they've got. I should know this right off the top of my head. They have, a 9-game winning streak. Is it that many? They've won. They were down 2-1 to Atlanta. They won 3 in a row to Atlanta, 4 in a row. Yeah, 9. They've won 9 games. The Knicks have a 9-game winning streak in playoffs right now. So are they due for a bad game? Yeah, they probably are. This could be it. And Cavaliers at home, this could be it. I liked what you sent me, though, last night. And
I'm going to read this for you, Pat. I'm going to pull it up so everyone else can listen to this.
Yes.
It's from Anthony Lima. He's 92.3. He's a big Cavs fan. He follows NBA literally from October to June. So he actually watches a lot of regular season games as well. So God bless him. He says, I sent you this last night. He says, I don't know if anyone ever truly felt that Donovan Mitchell could be the best player on a title team. For about 6 years now, he's been a top 10 player in the NBA who's delivered him massive playoff games, albeit on an inconsistent basis. I do think there's only 1 or 2 paths after this year that make sense for the Cavaliers organization. 1 would be continued the all-in approach and trade for a player better than Donovan Mitchell, or 2, trade Donovan Mitchell. Because paying him 5 years, $350 million starting in 2027 as your best player is not a viable option.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what they're down the old, I was referred as the old fork in the road. They're coming to the fork of the road with him because he's got 1 year left on his contract. Then he's got that opt-in year, but it's usually, if you're watching the NBA enough, that's right now is where they decide with Mitchell, because they got to see with Mitchell right now, you have trade value. once he gets through the year and he, quote, to be a free agent, there's no trade value. So right now he's got that year left guaranteed at the end of this year. If the Cavaliers have to make a decision, is he the guy or he's not the guy? Now we trade him and we can get value for him. But if you wait, you can't trade him after next year because he's then opt in, opt out. And then he can opt out and go anywhere he wants. Nobody's going to want to trade for Donovan Mitchell, or they'll give you very little for him, so you don't get the trade value. Right now, you could make the argument his trade value is going to be at its peak at the end of this year if you're the Cavs. So you got to kind of make, and then Harden has got the opt-in year next year for $42 million, which he could take or opt out. Now he can opt in and stay there and get $42 million if he wants. So the Cavaliers got to have kind of decision to make. Now the other guys, Mobley and
Mobley I think makes $51 million. Obviously, one of the reasons why they got the Darius Garland is because the Big Four wasn't getting it done. But if you sign back, the idea is they signed back. Harden left the Clippers. Remember when the Harden wanted out of the Clippers back last winter, 3.5 months ago, Pat? They were on like a 7 or 8 game winning streak, and people said, "What's going on here? This doesn't make any sense. They're hot right now." And all of a sudden now he's on the trade block. Well, he wanted another year in his car, and they didn't want to give it to him.
Right.
I mean, it was
Harden,
one of those.
Right.
Harden wants a 2-year deal, no matter who he signs with the idea of he's securing himself for longevity in the NBA.
The problem you have with Harden is 36 years old.
Correct.
Legs are kind of, you could tell he's typical Harden in the playoffs. The playoffs, he loses his legs. He looks tired.
Did the Cavs back themselves in the corner here? When you trade for the guy, if he's a rental and he goes somewhere else and signs somewhere else in the NBA, say the Orlando Magic, I'm just throwing a team out of that, whoever. Then you trade away to Darius Garland, a young 25-year-old point guard, and got you got a guy back for 4 months for him and made a playoff run. I mean, if you won an NBA championship, then it was worth it. But people are going to look back and say, well, once you traded for him, you had to re-sign him for a couple more years because you gave one of the top point guards in the NBA away.
Well, you had the problem you had with Darius Garland is you had a point guard that was always hurt. And he's always got foot problems. So, and he had a guaranteed contract, I believe, 3 more years. So they dumped Garland's contract and got Harden. I thought it was a combination of we've kind of given up on Garland because the guy's hurt. He's getting a boatload of money guaranteed over, I believe, the next 2 or 3 years. We go, no, we're going to move on from him. We don't want to have to pay him this contract because he's always hurt. Harden, was kind of a rental. And now they can make a decision on Harden whether or not they want to give him a 2-year contract of $28 million per year, or he said they offer him no contract. Then Harden has to make a decision: do I opt in and stay in Cleveland for 1 more year at $42 million? Maybe I retire, or I want to still play. But then he could be a free agent and go anywhere he wants. But see, he's got some potential there. Harden's he could stay and say, I'm opting in, I'm taking the $42 million.
Yeah, and I didn't realize I was reading an article, and I don't even know if I sent to you yesterday, Pat, but I didn't realize a lot of these veteran players like Draymond Green in Golden State, James Harden, guys that have been around the block, they're in mid to late 30s, they're willing to sacrifice money for 1 year to get another year on the contract. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll take a $5 to $7 million pay cut with the idea of I want another year on top of the contract. So instead of operating on a 1-year deal, now they're operating on a 2-year deal, and they're actually making money from it.
Yeah, they take less money for the
year.
year.
For the first year, to get the second year of the contract.
They get more money for 2 years, but if they stay the 1 year,
that's why they do that. The player looks at that.
They always look at it that way.
I'm taking a $7 million pay cut this year, but I'm getting the next year of my contract for the following year, which is what they want.
You think that he's able to do that? I mean, he's going to be 39 years old at the end, or 38 when he's at the contract. It's getting up there for him. Right. We see already that he's having a hard time going down the court. He gets tired and stuff. Is it worth it to keep him and hang him around because you're getting him as a discount for 2 years, or is it better to say, hey, maybe we can do better? That's a decision.
Yeah, he turns 37 in a couple months, so he'll actually turn 37 this summer.
Okay, then
he'll be 39.
Yeah. See, here's your dilemma you have, and the same thing with now Draymond Green is Draymond Green has a player option this year. After this, he could stay at Golden State for $27 million or opt out. and go anywhere he wants? Or does he opt in and take the $27 million? Or does he do what you're saying? I'll stay at Golden State, but I want a 2-year deal, say at $45 million or $50 million for 2 more years. I'll take $25 million. I'll give you like a little discount, but I'll get more money. But do the Golden State Warriors want to keep Draymond around for 2 more years?
Yeah.
Maybe they'll take the 1 year and then let him go like the Lakers did with LeBron.
Yeah.
Because the Lakers wouldn't extend LeBron. Rumor had Luka doesn't want LeBron on the team because, in a way, they're the same player. They're ball dominant. You can't move the ball with LeBron and Luka on the court together. So rumor was Luka wants LeBron gone because then he doesn't have to worry about LeBron getting the ball because we're kind of the same player. People argue sometimes LeBron distributes the ball better than Luka does, which he probably does. I won't argue that. But then you're looking at a 41-year-old LeBron. What do you do? And then here's the thing. People go, he's coming back to Cleveland. And we're going to the Knicks. No, I don't think he is because they can only give him $3.9 million.
Yeah.
See, I looked this up. People crack me up. Well, LeBron's going back to Cleveland. No, he's not, unless he wants to take $3.9 million, which is basically the veteran's minimum.
Minimum. I was gonna say,
That's
minimum.
and the Knicks the same way because the Knicks and the Cavs and even Golden State's the same way. They go, he's going to go play with Curry at Golden State. I don't think he is because, again, does he take $3.9 million where they're sitting at the salary cap?
And I don't think he's going to want that.
Well, and that's what I don't
Curry's
either.
not gonna. He's gonna say, "I'm the man. I don't need him," because he goes in there and changes everything around. He's basically a coach on the court and tells everybody what to do.
Well,
and that's not a good thing.
No, that's what Jeannie Buss said in the article. ESPN wrote a great article about the Lakers, and in that article, Jeannie Buss is like, she's done with LeBron. She says it's too much. You know, he brings in his the agent. Rich Paul, they want to do this.
They're high maintenance. They force that on.
And they drive everybody crazy.
Better yet, though, Pat, I believe I would say a good majority, I wouldn't say all, but a good majority of the Laker fans are done with them, too.
Yeah, I think so, too.
I have a friend who lives out there. He can't stand them. He goes, I wish he would have left 3 years ago. Like, he just can't. He loves the Lakers. He's a season ticket holder. He just doesn't like them.
But that's because that's what LeBron done to himself. He did it to himself because he's demanding all this. Right. And then when he brought his son into the league, who was mediocre at best, they could have pulled anybody out there. But he wanted his son. And I'll tell you what, that soured, first of all, a lot of players and a lot of owners because I was even upset over that.
For a guy that advocates all the time about education, okay, and he's got the LeBron James School in Akron, Ohio that he built for 10, 12, 15 years ago, and that's great. You're trying to help young people, and I support that 10,000%.
Right.
But, you let your son leave after his freshman year of college to go to the NBA when you knew he wasn't an NBA player. Let him stay there and get his degree, okay? Don't just talk about education for other people. Now, obviously, his son and his grandchildren never have to work a day in their lives. We all know that. But all the people I know that have a lot of money and a lot of power are very demanding on their children that you have to make your own way in this world. You mean?
Yeah.
And the reality is, everybody knew LeBron James Jr. was not an NBA player. Would he be a junior right now, finishing junior at USC if he stayed?
Yeah.
Would he have started this year at USC?
He may
I'm
have.
not trying to make you laugh. I'm being dead serious.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, it would have been how he, he progressed, and if he would have progressed, now just think in 2 more years, now he comes out without Daddy's help. Somebody could snare him up and say, "Hey, this could be the next LeBron James."
Michael Jordan didn't do that for his kids either.
Oh no.
I mean, Jordan's kids, he said, they're on their own. Like, they play, that's fine. But
because that makes a bad name, even though he's helping him, it makes a bad name for his son because everybody turned around and said, he's not an NBA. Everybody. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say, well, he's good enough to play.
Sadly, generally, he's really a nice kid. And the press really like him, and he's really, like, when they interview him, he's real, like, respectful, and he's real, like, with the press. And and he answers their question, and he's actually generally and a likable kid. This is the sad part. The fans like him because they said he's really a good guy. He's a good kid, and they like him. The father drives.
He's driving him crazy.
LeBron drives the owners crazy, but the son
Here's the question I have for you, gentlemen. Everyone cares about their legacy. I tell kids all the time in school, presidents care about their legacy. If they say they don't, they're lying to your face. No. They all care about it. 50 years, 100 years after they're dead, and that's very important to them, what they leave behind, their legacy. So LeBron's NBA legacy, you're in Cleveland, you're in Miami, you're in Cleveland, you're in L.A. To finish his career, and he still wants to play. It's quite obvious he wants to play, and he's still playing at pretty high levels. So he's going to be 42 in December. But if you want to play, you want to play. That's great. That's awesome. Where does this finish? The only places this can finish, in my opinion, are with the Lakers, stay with L.A. or come back to Cleveland. One of the things I saw on ESPN the other day, the article Pat's referring to, is the San Antonio Spurs is an option. But when he went to Miami, it was all of a sudden now you're chasing trophies, and the old-timers came out after him pretty good. The Kobe Bryants and the Magic Johnson and Larry Bird saying, you're chasing trophies now. We didn't have to do that. You know what I mean?
Well, and they said the other thing.
The one trophy he won in Cleveland would be more valuable than the two he won in Miami and the one he won in L.A.
I agree.
Even the one he won in L.A., I hate to say it, was kind of weird circumstances. Let's be honest. That bubble thing, and they postponed the season for 4 months, and they came back in late July to continue the season and the bubble down in Orlando. So that was kind of a bizarre situation. I mean,
that was. I know.
I don't want to say it's tainted. It's like when the Dodgers won that World Series. We're always like, on our minds, we'll always put a little asterisk next to that season because based upon the unusual circumstances.
Well, here's what I know they say he's going to the Spurs. The Spurs right now sit at 151. They have 183 million. Right now, after this year is over, the Spurs overall team payroll drops to 151 million. So even if they could say, well, he's going to the Spurs, where the salary cap, I believe, sits at 165 million. I don't know if he could go there, but they're not going to be able to pay him what he wants. Like, they're not going to. LeBron looking for a $50 million contract.
Oh, yeah.
These teams are not going to. See, this is what is the thing with LeBron, is what he wants is one thing. What teams are going to be able to actually give him is something totally different. Like, he can't go to goal unless he wants to play for that minimum exception of $3.9 million, which would be the Knicks and Golden State and Cleveland. And there were the places they go, well, he might go there for $3.9 million. Yeah. I don't know. And they can't get rid of contracts. These players are under contract.
And they're not going to, and I don't think there's any team that's going to say, yeah, you're worth that, especially the way everybody else says he's been here, he's been there, and he just disrupts everything.
Right.
Yeah, they win. And I agree, chasing trophies. That's all he did.
Right.
He wanted more trophies. So what does he do? Finds the best team? I'm in.
Right.
So,
and I look at what the Spurs have in their on their contract is, and the way their salary is laid out. They might be able to afford LeBron, but it would be, maybe they would have to work out because they don't want to get over the cap because the GM doesn't want to pay a luxury tax.
Oh, yeah.
So he wants to stay where he's at and not have to pay a luxury tax. So if you get LeBron, you're going to have to pay a luxury tax penalty. And that's where this is going to get real dicey with, like I said, LeBron talks. The only team that realistically can sign him is the Lakers. Maybe
exactly.
Or the Clippers, because I looked at their salary structure. They might be able, but they still can't. I don't think they could give him the $50 million he wants. I don't know if Ballmer would do it. But if LeBron's looking for like the 1 year deal, the $50 million, because I don't think there's only one team out there for all intent purposes would be the Lakers, maybe the Clippers, but the Lakers, all these other teams, because of the way their salary is structured within the team, they can't afford him. They can't pay. Like the Knicks can't give him $50 million. There's nothing to trade for LeBron because he's a free agent. If LeBron was still under contract, in a way he would be more viable because then you could trade for him players and match up contracts and get him. But when he's a flat-out free agent, you don't have anything to trade. That way you can't move the money around. I mean, I was looking at this, and then I read the article on ESPN that said, a little caveat, the Knicks, the Cavaliers, and Golden State, all the rumored teams, he plays for the veteran minimum of $3.9 million. And LeBron's not playing unless LeBron decides I'm going to play for $3.9 million.
No, because he thinks he's the greatest thing that ever donned tennis shoes. But, Michael Jordan will argue that one. Larry Bird will argue that. I'm right. Different era.
Totally. But you're right. I mean, the thing it comes back to is like that's what's making NBA so talked about is what's LeBron going to do, and he's kind of the linchpin for free agents because everybody's waiting to see what LeBron's doing.
Right.
So he's keeping the NBA active.
It's keeping it in the news because otherwise there's no news.
No, right. And you're talking great. It's good playoffs. As the Spurs. Right. And okay, it looks like a good series. The Knicks and Cavs, we'll see. But the bottom line is LeBron's out there, and everybody's talking. A lot of people are talking about what's LeBron going to do? Where's he going to go?
Right.
And he's kind of hanging. And then LeBron goes, "Well, I'm not really thinking about it." We know you are. That's the better part of it. Yeah. LeBron goes, "I'm not really going to think about it." Yeah, we know you're thinking about it.
Because the reality is probably only got 1 or 2 more years left, just because the age catches up with everybody. And
right.
You're not going to be like. Maybe he wants to be like Tom Brady and play at 45. I don't know. He's kept himself in tremendous shape. He was making decisions how long he wanted to play 10 or 12 years ago, not like in the last several years. I mean, so he made his mind up in his mid to late 20s. I want to go as long as I can. And as I said, he's just finished his 23rd year, and he's still playing at a high level. He's still one of the top 15 players in the league, no doubt about that.
Exactly.
So,
and that's exactly right. The thing, that's the important part is...
And like you said, whether it's the Knicks or the Cavs, he'd be in a better position if they could trade for him than to sign as a free agent.
And that's the thing. The thing is in a way, LeBron, if he was under contract, they could trade him. Then he could open up more doors. Like Giannis and Milwaukee. Giannis is still under the contract. You can trade, and they always do things with money. There's flexibility there.
Yeah.
But when a guy is a flat-out free agent, there's nothing to trade. You can't like move money. Like
ideally, Pat, if you want to end his career without L.A. or Cleveland, it'd be next year with the New York Knicks and bringing a championship to Madison Square Garden for the first time in 55 years. And that would be the cherry on top of his career right there. That would put him in the top 2 or 3 of all time there because you brought New York City something they just crave.
Hold on, Irish Mike. We'll be back, wrap up the show, a half hour. That's it, fourth quarter. Bob Gessler's with me, Pat Lucia, back after this on Western Reserve Radio.
Looking for future leaders we can believe in? Look no further than the high school student athletes right here in Ohio. High school sports teach young people how to be effective leaders. It includes learning to listen, accepting responsibility, being a good role model, and it's about respect. The result, it transcends sports. It gives us hope for the future. This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Nina's Pierogi House is your home for the area's best variety of pierogies. Daily specials include the Polish platter, the Hungarian platter, stuffed cabbage, and halushki. Having a last-minute get-together? Lena's has you covered with a wide variety of frozen take-home pierogies and dumplings. Go to Facebook at Lena's Pierogi House to see the weekly lineup of available flavors for dine-in or carry-out. Catch the best at Lena's Monday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Tuesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 20 North Main Street in Hubbard or call 234-254-8532. Are you ready to join the legacy? This is your chance to become part of something special with the Youngstown Patricians. Honoring the proud football tradition of the Valley, we're on the lookout for talented post-high school athletes who want to make their mark on the field. Whether you're a seasoned high school athlete, college, or former professional player, develop your skills and become part of a team that values hard work, dedication, and community spirit. Don't wait. Begin your path to the gridiron by visiting youngstownpat.com or contacting us on Facebook at the Youngstown Patricians. Be bold, be legendary, join the Youngstown Patricians today.
This is Jerry Snodgrass, Executive Director of the Ohio High School Athletic Association. One of my long-standing goals is to help people understand that high school sports are about so much more than wins and losses. The OHSAA promotes education-based athletics, where sports are an extension of the classroom. Our schools all want to win. There's no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, it's all about sportsmanship, leadership, and making certain that academics are a priority. Thank you for your support of high school sports in Ohio.
It's true,
exactly what it is.
That's all fair. Pat Lucia, we got Irish Mike, Bob Gessler with me, filling in for Dave Clark. Yeah, we were just talking off air about the 3-point, the game, the NBA game has changed. Teams fall in love with the 3-point play. It cost the Celtics last year against the Knicks in the playoffs. Celtics wouldn't stop shooting threes, let the Knicks win 2 games that they were losing because the Celtics kept heaving up the 3, and when it's not going in, instead of going down low, trying to get a 2-pointer, take some pressure off, no, they keep launching up the 3 and launching up the 3, and when it's not going in, then you let teams that you should win back in the game.
Well, the point that I made too, Irish Mike, is watch a game. As soon as that ball releases from their hands, the whole team's running back to go on defense. And the opposing team, there's 5 of them standing there. Well, there's no rebounding. No. There's no nothing. It's horrible. I said, I can't even watch. I used to watch it all the time. I can't watch it.
NBA can be a tough watch.
It is.
It's just a different watch when we're old.
There's no defense.
Right. It's just guys launching threes. So
and I also said, could you imagine with Bill Laimbeer and some of them, the old timers, and LeBron coming down to the lane? My man ain't standing because they're going to take him out, and that's just the difference between now they shoot threes. There's no defense, and they're making them easy for him. But again, just like the NFL, that's what they want. They want the points. They want the offense because that's exciting.
The only difference is the NFL is watchable. The NBA is a tough watch, and that's the difference.
True.
Yeah, one other thing to throw in, we were talking about Lakers and what LeBron's going to do, but Bronny, his son, is actually under contract, guaranteed next year, almost $2.3 million next year guaranteed. Then the team has a team option for him the year after that for almost $2.5 million. I'll round it up. So Bronny is under contract with the Lakers.
Right.
For at least through for 2 years, because the team could pick up his team option, or they cannot pick up the option, then he's a free agent. But Bronny will be with the Lakers next year if LeBron signs with the Knicks, then they have to maybe work out a trade for Bronny and bring him to the Knicks. If that's how does that work? See, that's the other thing with LeBron is people are thinking, a lot of people are saying, well, what about your son? Technically, he stays with the Lakers.
Right.
Unless they trade him to the team you're going to go to.
And then what's going to happen?
Well, the team that takes LeBron has to trade for Bronny, right? What do you think, Irish Mike? I mean, that's how that would have to happen. I don't know. I mean, I don't know at the end of the day what a team's going to do with Bronny. I mean, I guess that's what would happen. Or he stays and plays at the Lakers because he's under contract.
And then after the contract, I think it's going to be, you ain't good enough.
Well, again,
it's very possible.
He could develop his game maybe on the D League, could potentially develop into a decent NBA guy, and they might think, hey, we have a team option for the year after next for $2.5 million. Rounding this off because it's 2.486.
Yeah.
But the point is, they might keep him and say, yeah, for $2.5 million, he's a good guy coming off the bench. He does a lot with the locker room, and we keep him and we'll let him play.
Yeah.
I mean, because all the guys on the bench are all, that's bench guys are getting like $2 million, $1 million. I mean, that's okay. So they may keep him. I mean, again, it's really not a taxing the team as far as the payroll, and he does play, and I've watched him. He does contribute. So the question is going to be: LeBron makes $52 million this year. He's a free agent. What does he get next year, and where's he going?
Where's he going, and will the son stay there?
Yeah, or does the son go with him if he goes to a new team? But again, I think at the end of the day, after all this discussion, LeBron stays with the Lakers because there's really no other team out there. The Lakers can give him, if you look at their salary structure, they went from 197 down to 106. The only problem they have is Austin Reeves is got a player option next year for roughly about $14.9 million. He can opt out. Then they have to re-sign Austin Reeves, but Austin Reeves is going to want a lot more money.
Right.
So then they were talking. They said they don't think in this article that the Lakers can afford LeBron and Austin Reeves next year because they can't pay LeBron and then they extend Austin Reeves. It won't work out that well. So the Lakers are kind of in a real trick bag. And then the one player that they have who's pretty good, Rui Hachimura, who hits a lot of threes, he's a free agent. So they're going to probably lose him because some team's probably going to give him a bunch of money. And then Luke Kennard's played pretty good. He's a free agent. And Maxi Kleber, he's a free agent. So they've got guys, and Jackson Hayes, the backup center, is a free agent. I'm looking at DeAndre Ayton here. I got to look him up. But again, at the end of the day, the Lakers have to make some decisions because if they don't sign LeBron and they lose Hachimura, there aren't a lot of great free agents out in this class. How are the Lakers going to build this team back?
Well, they'll probably let him go, and that's when they'll sign LeBron.
I guess they're going to – I mean, Luke is under contract for 2 more years. He's there.
Right.
And so he's there. They got to look – I think in another year, do they extend Luka? So that's going to be the question.
And speaking of which, Pat, earlier this week, Jason Kidd got let go by the Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, Dallas Cowboys fired Jason
Are they
Kidd.
purging everybody that had anything to do with the Luka trade, you think, down in Dallas?
Yeah, they are. I think so. I think that's not what they want to – they're not reporting that, but that's like what you're basically –
that's what happened.
Read between the lines here, people.
Yeah.
I think you're 100%.
Everything I read, like, Kidd was against it, and he didn't let – he just, I feel like people are fall guys and they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. But everything I read, he didn't want to trade Luka, and the general manager said, "We're doing this whether you want to or not." So, like, it's guilt by association more than anything, gentlemen. I think, right?
And they had 5 years left on his contract.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they owe Jason Kidd. I saw that the other day. They fired him. They gave him a contract extension. He's got like 5 years left on the contract. They got to pay him. And I think it's. I'll look at it, but I think it's over $10 million a year.
I don't mind trade. I don't mind trying any play. Any player is tradable in any sport. NFL, NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball. You could trade anybody. The Yankees could trade their big stud outfielder right tomorrow, but you better get back a haul in return that makes sense. You mean?
Oh,
like
people will be losing.
Oklahoma City traded Paul George to the Clippers. They got that great young player and 5 first-round draft picks, which has made them an NBA almost a dynasty now. I think Oklahoma City is going to win the title next month, and they can win multiple titles. They're still young and very talented, and they still have a lot of draft picks.
Yeah, the OK City, they've got to make a couple. I'll pull them up, but I believe they're Hartenstein's contract, I think, is up after next year. They got to make a couple decisions, but they got the core there. Oklahoma City's got a core players like Shea Gillis, and they got younger guys, and they got a deep bench. And Presti's really a good GM. He'll figure it out. But Oklahoma City's going to be there for a while. So are the Spurs. The Spurs have a core, and they hit on their draft picks.
Well, see, that's the GM. He made some
GM.
great picks. He was smart, and he did his research. Just didn't dangle something out and he jumped it.
Right.
He did. You say he did research. That's amazing.
And that's it.
And I kind of find myself rooting for them guys a little bit, just as a fan of sports. I know the Chiefs going to get mad here, Bob, but I root for the smaller markets a lot. I mean,
I do.
Not New York and L.A. and Chicago. It's like, what NBA franchise besides Cleveland do you want to win? But Oklahoma City, right?
Right.
Because I'm sure there's more than one player that doesn't want to go there and say, well, there's not a whole lot to do there. I want the nightlife, I want the clubs and the restaurants and entertainment.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
For the record, Jason Kidd is due $40 million. He had 44 years, over $40 million remaining on his contract. So they got to pay him $40 million. Now, what will happen if he goes coaching somewhere, so they have offset. If he stays, I'm going to go on TV and I'm going to be an analyst. I'll just make that, and then you pay me my
money.
Pay me my $10 million a year for 4 more years. So give me my $40 million.
It'd be smart to do that.
That's what I would do.
Less headaches.
No headaches, no stress. Just go on TV and then analyze what other coaches should do. So then now you could second guess everybody and be a genius.
And then 2 or 3 years down the road, somebody comes knocking. You've already taken their money. You already signed a contract. Okay, no problem.
All right.
1.5, 2 years. I'm good with that. But I've already got the money that they promised me.
Yeah, I got
the cash.
I got cash.
My Lord.
So he's gone. Right. So that basically, but I thought when you sent me the thing with what's his name, with Donovan Mitchell, I mean, the Cavaliers are in the fork in the road, I think, at the end of this year with Donovan Mitchell. No? Don't they have to decide? Do they extend him? They got a year left. We said this earlier, but they got Donovan Mitchell. But now if they're going to trade him now. Trade him at the end of this year because you have a value. And let another team extend him. but he has one solid year left on the contract, and then it goes to the player option. But now is the trade at the height. He's right now at the height of his trade value if they decide to move on from him.
They got to make a decision because they're going to end up with a lot of money or nothing.
Right.
What do you think, Irish Mike? What should he do?
Yeah, I mean, I think what Anthony Lima wrote in that text tweet he put out a couple of days ago makes sense from a financial standpoint.
Right.
You know, if you're going to go move forward with Donovan Mitchell, then you probably have to try to acquire the Greek freak from Milwaukee, and obviously you're going to give up Evan Mobley at the very minimum. He's going to be gone. We all know that, and plus probably multiple first-round draft picks, at least 2 or 3. I mean, because the Greek freak's still only 31, 32, so he's still got 4 or 5, at least 3 or 4 good years left in him. When you bring on a guy like the Greek Freak, this is about winning NBA championships and holding up trophies in the middle of June and having a big parade in downtown Cleveland. So it's going to cost you Mobley for sure, and like I said, it's going to cost you multiple first-round draft picks. But you also gave up multiple first-round draft picks to Utah for Donovan Mitchell that still are still moving forward. You know what I mean? So
now,
you're giving up all your draft capital moving forward, so you're not going to have a bunch of draft picks over the next 4 or 5 years.
Right now,
but you're pushing all your chips to the middle of the table by doing that.
Greek Freak is due $58 million, almost $58 million next year. Yeah. Then you have that player option kicking in 27, 28, $62 million. If you trade for the Greek Freak, you've got to extend him. And that's usually those contracts are the 4-year, like what Denver's going to have to pay the Joker. 4 years, $280 million, I think, for 4 years. They're going to extend him. So if you're the Cavaliers and you want to go that direction, do you extend the Greek? You're going to have to extend him if you trade for him, because he's not going to. Because you don't want to give all that up and then he goes. He goes free agent after the year's over because he has that player option. He can opt out of the contract after next year and go anywhere he wants. So if you're the Cavaliers or any team for that matter that you trade for Giannis, you're going to have to give him that big extension, that crazy extension for the 4 years. And again, he's an older player. He's hurt a lot now. You're looking at this thing. I know he's 31, but he's been hurt. His last couple of years, he's missed a lot of time. The question you have with him, and he's a big guy, and those taller players have foot problems, knee problems. Yeah. Do you want to start giving a guy who's going to be 31, 32 a lot of money, and then he doesn't play? Then he's like Embiid. Look at the problem that Philadelphia's got with Joel Embiid. They have him for 4 more years at like $69 million. It's crazy, and he's not playing any. He can't play a whole series. Like he beat the Celtics when the 76ers beat the Celtics. Embiid played great, but at the Knicks, he was done because he can't play like all. His legs were a problem. He sat out a game because of his injuries. The point is, those guys that are that tall, when you're 32, 33 years old, and you start wanting to give these guys 60, 70 million a year, but if they can't play for you, now they're killing your team because you can't sign anybody.
Well, your GM's got to step in and say, "Here, look at his injury record."
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Here's what he can do, and this is when he's healthy, but he hasn't played in how long?
No, or he plays very limited.
AKA, hate to bring it up, but look at Deshaun Watson. We've had him for how many years now, and how much has he played? 1 full season, if you combined everything, if even that?
Joel Embiid's contract, he has 3 years left on the contract. Next year, he gets $59 million. Jeez. Following year, $64 million. The last year of the contract, 28-29, he's getting $69 million. He's got 3 basically years for, let's just round it off, say, it's like 65, round it off to about $65 million a year for 3 years guaranteed. He's on your roster. You can't do anything.
Right.
Because now look at all the money that he is being paid off off what's left. Then you want to try to go out and sign free agents unless you want to get way over the cap and get whacked for the luxury tax.
Right.
He really limits what you did. That happened to Kobe with the Lakers his last couple years. They had to pay him a bunch of money and they couldn't sign anybody. The team was terrible because they couldn't go out and get another player.
Yeah, I'm looking here. I'm just looking up the Donovan Mitchell trade. The Cavs gave up Lauri Markkanen, Colin Sexton, and Abaji, who was their first-round draft pick in June of 2022. They made this trade September 1 of 2022. So 2.5 months later, the Cavs traded their first-round draft pick along with Markkanen and Colin Sexton. They also gave up 3 unprotected first-round picks, 2025, 2027, and 2029. And 2 pick swaps in 2026 and 2028.
Right.
You know, Utah can swap with Cleveland.
Right.
So, I mean, so for the next 5 years, you're still dealing with this Donovan Mitchell trade that you made back in September 2022. Right. So, here's a question I have for you, Pat. You're more familiar with the NBA. These pick swaps in 2026 and 2028, are you allowed to still trade a first-round draft pick? Let's suppose you trade to Milwaukee. Does that become a pick swap between now Milwaukee and Utah?
I think it would. I think if you trade that
because you
pick,
own the pick, you still
own
have the
pick.
It's
but
just
if you
Utah has the right to say we want to swap with you because you're drafting higher than us.
That's a good question.
But obviously, the Cavs have been Utah has been a lot worse off than Cleveland, so that they'd want to keep their higher draft.
Yeah, they want to keep the higher picks.
Sense? Yeah, you would think.
Yeah, you would think they usually do.
I'm 99.9% sure on that.
No, you do. If you hit on your picks, like look at San Antonio, they hit on those two kids.
And they made a good trade for Darren Fox.
Yep.
So it's one of those things where you're giving up Evan Mobley. We all know that for sure. You know, he's 24 years old, and you're going to give up multiple first-round draft picks. So obviously, when you make a trade of this magnitude, you're saying we push our chips in the middle of the table. This is about winning a world championship trophy. So,
well, I guess
because you're giving up a lot of your draft capital moving forward the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So
Giannis going to
these guys get hurt or whatever, you're stuck. You're where the Philadelphia 76ers are now with them, Joel Embiid and Paul George.
Right.
And two veterans to make a lot of money. They only want to play 45 games a year.
And therein lies your problem. Paul George, at least his contract is up next year. He gets $54 million next year, and then he's got the player option the following year. So Paul George is iffy. Tyrese Maxey is there through 28, 29 like Embiid, and he plays. He's good. And the kid Edgecombe, if you're a Sixer fan, you've got him under contract under the rookie contract for 4 years or 3 years after this. But the point is you've got now the problem you have is you gave Embiid, you just extended him. This was last year. They gave him the big fat extension, and fans are yelling and screaming going, his injury history alone said you should have never ever given him this extension. And now he's on the team. Nobody, and then they go trade him. Who wants him? That's the other thing. Is people go trade Embiid. Okay, who wants this contract?
No one's going to touch it.
No,
it's too much, and he's
too
always
much.
hurt.
See, and the problem with Milwaukee, and this is how I read it, is in a way they got to trade Giannis now. Because if they don't trade him and he's hurt another year, well, it won't matter because he'll have that player option. He can opt out. But then who's going to want to give him a bunch of money? Because if again, all these big centers, Yao Ming had the foot injury, his career gone at an early age. And again, I see this time, and Embiid, seriously, do you think Embiid's going to play 3 more years with the way he's hurt all the time? He's always got foot, ankle, and knee issues because he's so big. He's a great talent. I'm not going to argue his talent is through the roof, but he's not on the court because he's always hurt.
Maybe they had to change the courts around.
I make a cushion on it. I don't know. But the thing is, these guys, it's like, you know, when you're a GM and you're looking at these players and they won't Giannis, and I'm going, I don't know if I want to trade for Giannis. Do you want to give him a big extension like an Embiid extension if he's going to be hurt, especially now that he's over 30 years old?
No.
I'm a Knicks fan. I don't want Giannis. I don't want him at all. I've got the players. I'm happy. And I don't know if Giannis is going to make them that much better.
Right.
See, that's the other question you got to look at. Is an older Giannis going to make your team that much better?
Right.
I don't know. And then if you're going to give the older Giannis 60, 80, 70 million a year on an extension, which is what he's going to get. That's what Denver's got to give the Joker. Charles Barkley fell off the chair when he was getting how much with the Joker's extension was 4 years at 280, and Charles is shaking his head, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, here's a guy that played and knows.
Yeah, and but I mean, do you want to tie up your whole salary structure with a guy making that who's not playing? That's where the kicker comes in. If they're playing and they're good, okay. But when the guys are hurt, especially these big 7-foot guys,
no, flat out no.
When they get over 32, I wouldn't touch them.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's what the Cavaliers have to decide. Giannis looks all great. It's all the press and Giannis who is worse. But if I'm Cleveland, I don't think I trade for Giannis. You're Irish Mike. You're the Cavalier fan. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you're taking a risk by doing that. Obviously, you're showing the fans that we're going for an NBA title. We want to hold a parade in downtown Cleveland in the middle of June after winning a championship. But at the same time, if it fails after 2 years, then you're looking at 4 or 5 years of being one of the 3 or 4 worst teams in the NBA again.
Yeah.
So it's a high risk, high reward type of situation.
That's when you're walking the line, baby. You don't know which way you're going to fall.
Because if it doesn't work after 2 years, then you're facing fertility of 4 or 5 years of being one of the 3 or 4 worst teams in the NBA and being in the draft lottery for several years.
Right
But
now.
I think it probably has to be a risk you have to take if you're in small market. I mean, you're giving up a 24-year-old Evan Mobley and plus multiple first-round draft picks again, so you're rolling the dice, so to speak. Hey, before I get off with you guys, I want to talk a little about college football. I know, Bob, you're a Notre Dame fan, and Pat loves to talk about this topic, but a guy did a podcast earlier this week from college football, and the podcast is entitled this, "The ACC Hates Notre Dame, but Hates Itself Even More."
I like that.
I like it.
Yes. But based upon the fact that obviously these coaches and ADs had, there was a lot of anonymous quotes come out about Notre Dame over the last week and a half by ACC coaches and ACC athletic directors anonymously that were very anti-Notre Dame. And but at the same time, as Lucia says for years now, the ACC needs them or they'd be almost irrelevant. So it's like,
yeah, they're forcing
we hate
them.
Notre Dame, but we also know we need them at the same time. They can only play 5 games a year, so they dip their toe in the water, but they never jump fully in.
Yeah, they want Notre Dame to be in a region, and they want to say Notre Dame. And this is what I like about Notre Dame. This is what we've done since we started playing football at Notre Dame. We are an independent. I'm sorry if we play the Navy and this and that because that's who we play because we can't help that. So the Navy Academy or whoever, Army, has slipped down. But that is tradition that we have.
Well,
but we're still
been
good.
Pretty good the last few years. I mean, they win 9 or 10 games a year, right?
Right.
We talk about all the time with Pat and Dave that when they put those ranking downs in late October, November, they're very, very crafty. This committee of who they put between number 21 and 25.
Right.
Now, you and I say, who cares if you're ranked 22? They know that if they put certain teams there, people say you have another top 25 win.
Yeah.
So they purposely leave teams out of the top 25 saying if we put them at number 23, even though they won 9 or 10 games, that somebody's going to point to say, well, look, you have another top 25 win on your resume.
Yeah.
Well,
they're very crafty about that.
Let me just interject. The craftiness is all going out the window because when they go to 24 teams, it's going to take care of it.
Yep. You're right.
Notre Dame supports that, Bob, and here's why.
Of course.
Because I was told most people say 16 teams, like Pat's been saying for years. 1 plays 16,
Right.
2 plays 15.
Correct.
3 plays 14, no buys, and 4 games, here we go. And he's been saying that for years now.
Right.
Notre Dame was all about that, and they changed their tune the last several months. Now they want to go to 24, and I was asking why. And they believe if it stays at 12 or 16, they're going to have more and more difficult time scheduling in the future.
Right.
I agree.
I don't know if you saw this the other day, Bob, but the other day on the 2027 schedule next year, the Notre Dame's playing a home game against the Kent State Golden Flashes.
Sure.
But you know what?
And they're gonna hype the Lou Holtz thing. They'll bring Lou Holtz's alumni in. Say Lou Holtz went to school there. Don't make that game all about Lou Holtz.
Sure.
You know that, and I know that. Right? 'Cause that's where he went to school.
And that's okay. But see, my argument to that is now we'll go back. What about Ohio State that plays 2 games for years of teams that they could slaughter?
Right.
Youngstown State, or they'll play in Akron or whoever.
My buddies were busting my chops about that, and I sent them the 2007 Ohio State football schedule when Jim Truss was the coach. That was the year they played LSU in the national title game down in Louisiana in January of 2008, which Marcus Freeman was the starting linebacker on the team.
Yes.
And that year they played Youngstown State, Akron, and Kent State.
Yes. Yeah, that's what
They
I said.
played 3 of those teams.
So I don't want to.
There was your schedule in 07. You didn't have a problem with it back then.
You know what? Let me tell you something. Where this is going with these schools, if Ohio State and Michigan and Texas could be independents, they would.
They would do it.
They
would do it
jump
in a minute.
Correct.
They would
Exactly.
take it in a minute.
And that's where it's going to go, Pat, in the next 5 years. We're going to have like 45, 50 teams break away from
And
everybody
they're
else
just
and say,
going to be on. They're just going to have
45 schools, 40 schools. You other ones are irrelevant. Do your own thing.
Yeah, and
that's what's going to happen next 5 years.
This is my just let anybody play whoever, because now you have a playoff. Who gives a crap?
Right.
There shouldn't be divisions. There shouldn't be that.
Right.
You're going by wins and losses anyway. Why are you looking at it?
The only thing that could prevent that is because all the money that the Big Ten network is generating, the TV money that they're but Ohio State would probably recoup that and make their own network.
They will.
Yeah, sure.
And make and they would probably make more money on their own with their own Ohio State football network. My God, are you kidding me? They could have streaming. People would be buying that all over the country.
Right.
That would make more. And they're looking at that now. And you know and I know that the schools are thinking, wait a minute. If Netflix could come in and we could start streaming our games on Netflix and Peacock and Prime, we could make, Ohio State could make, how much money can Ohio State make if they start streaming all their football games and throw the basketball games in the mix? We could stream all, and they do now anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say, they do it.
They do it now with basketball, but if Ohio State could put all their football games on Peacock and Prime, people are going to buy that and watch it.
Yeah, you're right.
And Ohio State could have their own football-powered network.
Exactly. And that's where it'll go, because then you'll have your Michigans, your Notre Dame. They're all going to run to that.
Right, they're all going to run to that because that's the biggest
money.
revenue money.
Exactly.
Always about the money, no matter what you do.
Exactly.
Follow the green dollar. Oh, man. All right, Irish
Mike.
Mike.
Let me ask you guys this question.
We're out.
A question school yesterday. I want to ask you, gentlemen. It was a really good question, very thought out.
Okay.
You know,
we got to go. Thanks, Irish Mike. We're out of time. Memorial Day for the veterans. Keep them in your prayers. They've done a great job. Thank you, veterans, for all you've done for this great country. We thank you. Saturday Morning Sports Page.
Thank you for all your freedom, and that we're able to do this and be free.
Thank you. Saturday Morning Sports Page. Pat Lucia, Bob Gessler, Western Reserve Radio.
Youngstown, Warren, and Salem Sports Talk is on the iMedia1 network. Western Reserve Radio, Western Reserve Radio 2, and City View Sportscast.
Sports Betting Network.
Happy Saturday, happy Memorial Day weekend. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll go behind the counter. We'll talk to Thomas Gable from the Borgata in Atlantic City. How did last night go for the books, with an underdog in the Vegas Golden Knights getting the win and an underdog in the Oklahoma City Thunder? What's the action shaping up like for tonight, and how much liability does a place like the Borgata in Atlantic City have when it comes to the New York Knicks? Thomas Gable in 15 minutes. We'll continue to get you ready for the night on the ice with Todd Furman from CBS Sports HQ. He will join us in 30 minutes. It is worth noting, we mentioned it,